My name's Dr. Jacob Witer. I'm a general dentist in Michigan. I got hooked up with Luis and the whole Engage crew about, what do you say, a little less than 8 months ago, or since.
I'm like, yeah, already, but you were one of our first clients, so I want to say yes. Yeah.
Okay. It was right after COVID, like right after we opened.
Right after COVID, yeah.
And ever since then, things have changed in an excellent way. So,
amazing. No, I mean, What's going on, guys? So I was saying, like, this is Dr. Jacob Witer. He was actually one of our very first clients here at Engage. I personally onboarded you. I think I was still like doing all the day-to-day, which is really awesome. And like he said, he came in right at the end of COVID-19, and it's been a whirlwind of really amazing things that I know he's been going through from a lot of people, including myself, during COVID, right? It was like one of the worst times in their career, right? But then really able to kind of be at this bottom, and then just all of a sudden have an amazing turnaround. It's one of the best feelings. And so I really wanted to have Dr. Jacob on here because, well, he's in our 100K club, but I feel like the reason why I want to highlight your story is because it was one of the ones that I felt was a very, very awesome transformation. You went from, how many rooms did you have? Just 2 or 3?
Two.
And then now you open up one, and then now you're opening up another one, and it's just been
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, skyrocketing. So tell me a little bit about your background and your history, how long you've been doing dentistry, all that stuff.
Okay. So I have been doing dentistry coming up 11 years now. So, I worked for people. I never did the corporate route, but I just worked for private dentists.
Yeah. Doing
their work and essentially just making a lot of money for them. And I was just kind of looking for I knew I always wanted to be a practice owner. I just knew it. It took me a while to kind of get the confidence together to actually pull the trigger and go out on your own, because it's a massive expense, and it's are you going to be successful? You just don't know. So I finally did it, and I thought I knew what I was doing, and I quickly realized that I had no clue what I was doing. So and I think I had the mindset of just I'm a good dentist, I'm a good person, people are just going to come in my door, which did not happen at all.
Nothing could be further than the truth.
Exactly. So that was the biggest thing that I had to change first, was my thinking is I'm not going to just wait for people to come to me. I have to go out and actually take my go get them, pretty much.
And just to quickly say this, when I mentioned that you've had one of the best transformations that I've seen, I didn't mean that just from a business standpoint, but also from your mental game. The way that you just started thinking about your business completely shifted. And that's what I really want to highlight that, because if you really want to be more than just a dentist and own your job, which is essentially what is happening right now, you just own your job, and you want to really get to a point where you're a business owner, you're a CEO, you're an entrepreneur, you have to start thinking a little bit different than what you were before, right? And that's just
exactly. And it's a big shift, and I'm still kind of shifting more and more into that mental mindset. But that was the biggest thing, is you have to get it here, or I had to get it here, be okay, well, I need to look at my practice as a business versus just being a dentist. So, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that kind of shifted. So I, first couple years trying stuff out was kind of the trial and error of employees, staff, and that was a giant mess. But and then I realized it was okay, I have to do something. So first I had to make the mental commitment and say, I am gonna go for it. So I once I got serious about it and actually looked at my business, I started changing things. And one of the big things is I need outflow, or basically I need to get out there. And I've tried mailers in the past. I tried different people using social media marketing that, and I'll be honest, present company excluded, dental marketers for the most part suck.
I remember when you first came on board with us, like you told us your story, like you had worked with this other guy, and then he had also done some stuff with you, done your website, but then was like trying to charge you extra. I don't know, like something about the website. He was trying to scam you on that.
It was crazy. I tried this guy for 4 months. I probably spent 12 grand with him, and I got big old goose egg back, and I was like, dude, like, come on. So all right, so then I kind of told you the story, and I onboarded with you, and I've been doing Invisalign for a couple of years, and where we're at, I was probably 10-12 cases throughout the course of the year. And what attracted me to you was your offer, and you guys showed up on my Facebook feed a few times before I was like, maybe I should click that. So I clicked it, and I was like, okay, so I was very skeptical, very, very skeptical.
Yes.
And after talking to you guys, I'm like, okay, well, you guys got a kind of a nice little guarantee. Go nuts.
I mean, you don't have, I mean, what, like paper show, like guaranteed, like
yeah.
I mean, like even if it doesn't work, like you're risking less with us than like any other marketer out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I figured, okay, Invisalign patients, you get a couple of them. As long as you get a couple, that's paid for itself.
For sure.
But man, I mean, you brought me my first consult. I wasn't even prepared for my first consult because it was within 2 days after you launched, and I was like, well, that's kind of nice. All right. And then they just kept coming and coming. So then literally what I had to do, I had to be like, I had to prepare for the volume of people to come in and develop a process from when that person hits your, when you schedule them, and then when they come in my door, what do I say to them? Because I mean, you can bring me all the patients all day long, but if I can't sell them on treatment, then there's no problem. So, and that's a big shift in my mentality too, is I had to figure out that I'm actually in sales and I'm selling dentistry. But I'm never pushy to anybody. But once you get in that mindset, it's like, okay, I got to sell this to make the sale. That changed a lot for me too. So that was really nice.
Yeah, I really want to touch on this because this is like the biggest point when some of our clients might not get the best result that they want, is that they don't really focus on the sales part, or they feel uncomfortable with it. So then they just like offboard it to a TC or an assistant. But guess what? They don't know anything. Like the majority of people don't know. And then we're talking about high ticket.
Yeah.
And so most people, like if they personally don't make a lot of money, then they're afraid to even give out big numbers like that. Because and part of sales is just like a transfer of energy, right? So it's like if I sound scared delivering a price point of $4,500, then they're gonna tell, and they're not gonna want to do treatment with me, right? And so and a lot of people have this like negative thinking about selling, but all selling is you providing a solution, right? Like if you can't sell them, then you can't help them, and you can't solve that pain that they have or the insecurities that they have when it comes to their smile, what have you. And so I think, when we spoke about this the first time, I was like super grateful that you had that epiphany, because a lot of people still struggle with that. You know what I mean? Like they can't. I don't know
even in dental school, they say, you shouldn't be a salesperson. Like you should just be a good dentist will come in the door, which is the furthest thing from the truth that you could ever get. Yeah. But the best analogy I can give you is like, if you're going to go to a dealership to buy a car, you're already interested in buying a car. Same with a patient coming to our office, they're already interested in Invisalign. You just have to kind of guide them to the product that that they can. So for instance, what am I looking for? A sports car, a SUV, a family wagon, something like that. I come in and it's an interview with a patient. I just say, what are you looking to get here? And they tell me, I want this tooth fixed, or I don't care about this, I just want this, and I say, I just take a look, say, you'd be an excellent candidate. Here's XYZ, here's what it costs, and let's get you scheduled. And a lot of times they'll do it right then, which is really cool. So,
yeah, it's really awesome. And man, there was you talked about like the whole aspect of like being prepared for the consult. I feel like we have this issue a lot of times too, where it's like you don't do a lot of Invisalign, so you don't have a lot of experience, but you really want to get into that business, right? And we'll bring on a lot of people that are like in that scenario, but then again, they're not prepared, right? They're not prepared for when the patient shows up. So what were some of the things that you did to be better prepared for people to come in and for you to actually start seeing a result with our program?
So one of the first things that I did, and I think we talked about, is like, I got a coach. We're signed up for Moles Coaching, which, if you don't know Ryan Moles, that guy, I mean, whatever it's worth, his coaching is worth it, because he'll teach you how to market it, how to price it, how to talk to people about it. But you need to develop payment options. People want to know what your options are. Doesn't matter what they are, but just give them a few different options. So in my office, we have 3 different options to pay it, where they can pay in full, which is, some do that. They can pay through the office. They just got to put their chunk down to cover our initial costs, and we do it monthly automatically.
That's or in-house financing.
In-house financing, yep. Or we do a third-party like Lending Point. They've got a contract with Invisalign, so they pay your Invisalign case fee on that, which that works really nice. The downside with that is there's interest, and in my practice, patients don't want to pay interest, so they usually just do our in-house financing, which works out very well. Yeah. The other thing is find out some of the benefits Invisalign can be over regular braces, and price it competitive. I mean, I price mine less and I get more. Which is really nice.
Okay, so, I really want to touch on this, because I know Moles talks about this, and this is one of his big strategic advantages, right? Okay, starting from the beginning, part of what Jacob had to do to come to that realization is that he started to think differently, right? So when you start thinking about pricing, it means that you've already kind of started thinking as your practice, as a business, and you need to essentially tweak a few things to make it work. I say all the time, business is a big math equation, right? If you don't get the end result that you want, all you have to do is tweak the variables so that you can ultimately get that, right? And so you started thinking, okay, well, what do I need to do to make myself competitive in the marketplace and get people to say yes to my treatment, right? And and I'm huge on this, because I feel like we have people, man, coming on board and they want to charge $6,800 for Invisalign.
No.
And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I get it. You're legit, like, you are amazing. You're great at what you do, but it's just like when you're selling apples to apples a lot of the time, and you have other people that are selling the same thing and that price it more affordably, or even if you're a dentist and then the ortho down the street is doing the same thing and they're offering better financing options than you are, it's just logical sense that they're going to go say yes to the other person, because the barrier to entry is a lot lower. Right? Exactly. And so, man, I love this, dude. I love the fact that you were able to actually, look at your pricing. So then, like, what did you, like, what was that transition that you had to go through so that you were like, you felt okay with lowering your price? I feel like I have this conversation a lot of times and people are like, no, I don't want to drop my price. Like, I don't want to drop my price. Like, I don't know.
The transition was just like, it's just like, do you want to do it or not? I mean, that's pretty much it. So here's what we do. I mean, I tell my patients straight up, I'm like, look, I don't believe in surprise fees at all. It's one cost, start to finish. And I throw in their retainer at the end. I give them whitening with it. I include their pan, all their office visits, everything, whether it takes me a year, 2 years, whatever. And so basically, I'll tell you the cost. I charge $4,000 in my office. I say normally it's $5,500. We're doing $1,500 off, $4,000, and it's cheaper than the guys down the road. And so I think I mentioned I was doing 10 to 12 cases a year. Now it's 10 or 12 a month, so or more. So I mean, we hit Gold Plus quickly. I've already hit Gold Plus this year, and it's March, or April. So I'm going for Platinum this year. So it's
that's crazy. Just so you guys know, Dr. Jacob, he got a phone call from his Invisalign rep, and he's like, "Hey man, like, what are you doing?"
So my Invisalign rep become a good friend of mine now. So within the second month of working with you guys, I get a call out of the blue from, his name's Joel, and he's like, "Dude, what is going on in your office?" I go, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You are starting more cases, like case starts, if you do a 20-mile radius around your office." He's like, if you keep this trajectory, no one's going to touch you. He's like, "You're already beating both orthodontists out in your town." And I said, "Okay." You know what's even funny is I have a startup office, so it's just, at the time, it was just myself and one hygienist that was part-time.
Yeah.
So, and one front desk. So, and he goes, "You guys are crazy. You're a team of 3. So I said, "Yeah, that's okay." So, yeah.
That's, I always laugh about that. It's an amazing story. And so sorry. So going back to it, right? It's like you really hone in on your pricing. What were, it's coming back to like the whole thing about preparing, right? Like what were some of the other things? Okay, so you talked about financing, you talked about, offering competitive pricing. One thing that I will say about the competitive pricing, I know Molis talks about this, and I know you agree with me, it's like part of the pricing strategy, guys, because I feel like a lot of people don't think long-term, like they're very short-term minded, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want that $6,800 Invisalign case, like I don't care," like they're really focused on the now because they want to be more profitable up front. But you have to understand, like, especially if you're a dentist, you're in a very unique position to really capitalize and really increase the lifetime value of that patient, because it's the barrier to entry is lower. You're still making good profit on that, like, because there's not much time commitment involved into that, right? And then, but now you just did the most important thing, which was acquire a new patient, a new customer, right?
I'm glad you said that, because as GPs, I'm looking at, like, you're bringing a body in my chair, but that is interested in Invisalign, but may not have been in the dentist for 2 years.
Yeah.
So because whatever, they're not confident with their smile. So a lot of times they have to go through my hygiene program first, get 2-3 fillings done, maybe a crown done, and then Invisalign. Yeah. So we've made a lot more income. And a lot of times if a mom's bringing in their teenager for their Invisalign consult, next thing I know, mom, dad, brother, sister are now patients of mine too. So guess what? New room, new hygienist, busier practice, and income goes like that.
I mean, I don't know if you feel comfortable about this, but I recall you telling me that you had like a massive thing. Like when we first started, you were like around like 30K or something.
Yeah, so I was anywhere between 30, 35K a month, and that was with not much, like some bad marketing, and just kind of, it's like, please God, send me patients, and all of a sudden now and I'm consistently doing over 100K a month.
Yeah, that
with myself and 1.5 hygienists now. So yeah,
that is crazy. That
consistent.
That makes me feel amazing. But I mean, honestly, I would say that, like, it's like what you said earlier, like, and I say this all the time too. It's like it has to be a equal partnership between marketing and sales, right? Like if you have one or the other, it's just not going to work. And I recall too, I want you to talk about this, is that you were telling me, man, like I've been reading like all these books on sales.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if you wouldn't have done that, like, you wouldn't have had the massive success that you've been having now. You have people in your own area calling you up now, asking you like, hey man, how'd you do it? Like, right. And so tell me a little bit about like some of the things that you had to do in regards to sales and kind of thinking about that. Maybe, I don't know, any.
So yeah, I give you a couple of the books that I've read, but the first one I kind of read was this guy, I forget, it's Extreme Ownership it's by this Navy SEAL called Jocko Willing.
Dude,
basically he's
crazy.
He's the guy's awesome. If you ever listen to his audiobook, he sounds like a badass. He is awesome.
He has a podcast, and I was actually just listening to it like 2 days ago. He is hardcore. It's amazing.
Yeah. But so basically the big thing is like take ownership of your own life. So I'm like, okay, fine. And then some other sales book, I listen to Grant Cardone a lot. I mean, that guy's awesome too. But he's like, if you don't make the sale, it's your fault because you didn't pursue or nothing. I was like, okay, all right. So all these people are kind of
there. It is
like, okay, ownership, and then it gives you like Grant Cardone has. Yeah, that guy's awesome. Little things to say like. And they work too. If you say, well, let me go talk to my husband, I want to think about it. I'm like, okay, you can go talk to your husband, but if he's anything like me, he's going to tell you to do it anyways. You're right, Doc. Let's just get started. So,
I love that.
You know? I mean, I'm just like, light bulb, you know?
I honestly, it's so true. Like even my wife sometimes like stops herself from doing a purchase because she wants to come and ask me about it. And I mean, you know, it's cool that she does, but at the same time, always like, yeah, just do it. Like, you don't have to ask me. Like,
yeah,
do
I know. So, I mean, it's, yeah. And I'm never pushy. I never push anybody. And it's like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And
one of the things that I really want to highlight that I think is super important that I feel like a lot of people, whether it's the doctor or the TC or whoever's doing the close at that point, struggle with is really really asking good questions and then actually listening, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, I know you've had some like, you know, you've kind of adopted this as well. Like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that overall?
Listening? Yeah. Basically, I welcome my patients to the office. And for like, if you were coming in and I said, Luis, welcome to the office. How's your day? A little small chat. It's kind of nice. Thank God it's summer. And I'm like, well, how can I help you? And then just shut up. That's all I do. I just shut up. And eye contact is critical. And you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me what you're looking for. And whether it's Invisalign or whether I think you just need some bonding or some veneers or whatever, you usually tell me what your chief problem is, and so I just listen, and that's it. So
you listen, you dig deep, and you provide a solution, right? And I think like, I feel like a lot of times like either they're nervous or they just feel uncomfortable, so then they just like keep talking and talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
Like they don't really like listen and wait for what the patient has to say, and really listening in onto like what are like really what are they saying like deeply, right? Like, you know, like what's going on inside internally, like because you want to fix their smile, but obviously they want to fix their smile for a specific reason, right?
Right. And communication is a learned skill. It's not just easy. So it's like, I have to say something, you have to interpret it, and then you have to communicate something back to me, and I have to receive that, and we have to kind of figure out, you know, and
then I have to understand you too, right?
Yes.
Like what I recently went to the dentist, and like he did really good at asking me questions and stuff, but then when he was communicating to me, he was using a lot of jargon. And so there's a phrase in marketing, this guy named Donald Mitter, he says like, if you confuse, you lose, right? So it's like, as human beings, the more we are forced to comprehend something, the more like the less likely we are to do it, because we're trying to save calories. It's just the, you know, like instinct, right? Like, so if you confuse somebody, then they most likely either hit the back button, that's when they hit the X and close, like that's when they just tune out because I don't want to think, you know what I mean? Like people just can't deal with that. So like, I know for me, I'm just like, And then a lot of people, they won't even ask you what that means because they just feel a little insecure about asking a lot of times. So you just lost the sale right there because you confused them. Right.
Exactly.
And it's like using all this jargon that you don't need to say that. It's like, it's better if you just make them, you understand them and they understand you, like bottom line. Right. And so I know for me, that was one of the things that happened. And then the other thing, I think I mentioned this to you one of the times we were talking on the phone, where I went to this dentist and I literally told the assistant that my back tooth was hurting, right? I was there for something else. I was just there for a general consult on a smile makeover. But then I told him like, oh, my tooth's actually also hurting. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll tell the doctor. The doctor never brought it up. I'm thinking she never told him. But then I'm literally already out the door and I had to ask them, hey, so my tooth, like, what did you guys find or what? Did I have like a cavity or something? Like, oh yeah, you have a cavity. Oh. And that's it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, dude, if you would have brought it up when I was in the chair, I would have said yes. I would have given you money. Like,
yeah, lost opportunity.
That's the whole thing about not listening. You know? So it's like really being able to like take advantage, or I mean, really assess the situation and understand like what are their needs, right? And then providing like a really good solution, right? And not being sorry, like, because that was one of the other things when they were giving me price, they were like, oh, like it's around like, you know, $4,500. I know that's a lot, but we still need to check your insurance. I mean, like, if you're making it sound like you're afraid of me giving you money, then like it just makes me less assured that I should give you that money in the first place.
Right.
Why do they feel sorry? Like, do they not deserve that? Like, is it not meant to be that expensive? Like, I don't know, man. Like, what? I mean, I know, especially when you're pitching high ticket. Yeah. What were some of your experiences in like shifting from like, I guess, I don't know how much high ticket stuff you would do in the past, but like, was there like a shift for you there as well, or not so much? Significant shift. So I had to get out of my head that people didn't have money or couldn't get money. As soon as you get there's an abundance of money out there. There's money out there. And if you have the mentality that there's no money out there, you're gonna kind of sound like, ooh, I know it's a lot of money. Oh, can you afford that? Do you want that out of your dentist? No, I don't want that out of my dentist. No, I had to kind of, once I came to there's money out there, and I'm already giving you a discount on this service. How do you want to pay for it? For sure. That's it. I mean, it's a mental switch that you just said, there's money out there. Yeah. I definitely want to highlight. I think that's like the golden nugget out of this whole topic is that like you have to shift that mindset from like that there. I mean, I don't know what the opposite. I can't think of the opposite right now, but basically like where there is an abundance, like having that abundance mentality, and that there is money out there. And there's multiple ways of people acquiring that money. You know what I mean? Like, just because they don't have that money in their bank account doesn't mean that they can't finance that money. Because exactly. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times people feel bad about offering them or still selling them, even though maybe they don't have that cash front. But I mean, like, you don't know what their situation is when it comes to making those monthly payments. And I would say you're also doing them a service because, I mean, I know for me, like, if I can get a smile makeover and I didn't have enough money, like I would still get it, because I know for me personally, like part of what I do is that it's all presentation, it's all confidence. And that ultimately is going to help, is a stepping stone for me to get to maybe more income in my life, or, you know, just promotion in my job, or just feeling more secure in my relationships, like whatever it is. Like, you don't know what that person's going through. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All those things are important, right? And you didn't give them the opportunity to solve that problem for them. And so, dude, I mean, it's awesome. It's great. I mean, it's great. The other thing I wanted to address on is like, get your entire team involved, because we have goals in our office. So every Invisalign case start,
I put some money in an office pool, and at the end of the month they split it, and a lot of times they go home with an extra like $500 each. So what it does is gives them an incentive to help that patient sign that little line that says yes, so that is really, really important. Yeah,
I mean, yes, right. So especially if because I mean, last time we spoke, I remember you said that you were the one doing like getting them to say yes. Like, have you transitioned to your assistants helping you with that now, or is it still just you?
So now I have 2 hygienists now, and all they have to say is like I go, all I want you to do is plant the seed. So if you see a new patient or someone that you've seen a little while, if you see a little crowding, or if you see something that you think that could be fixed with Invisalign, all you have to say is, have you ever thought about straightening your teeth? That's it. That's all I want them to say. I think you might be good for Invisalign. And then they come get me and say, I think they might be interested in Invisalign. So that's
because people will talk, and then they say that, and then they're just like, blah, 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 blah. Like people want to talk.
Yeah, that's it. And it's
that's really good. And I remember when we had talked about this before, where you said like I really started investing a lot into my team, and I thought that was really, I mean, you said it's really, really important. And that is key, because I mean, a lot of people don't invest into their team, and and you specifically gave them, and here the key thing, guys, like we dissect this further, you gave them a specific process, and you told them exactly what to say.
Yeah,
you didn't leave it up to chance. And I use this analogy all the time, where it's like I say, like a lot of the times, like in your business, like you have your people, and your business is an investment, right? So, and then I always say, it's like I kind of try to relate it to like I'm at the track and I'm betting on a horse, right? Let's say we're at the racetrack.
Sure.
Am I gonna bet on a horse that is more likely to lose, or on the horse that I know for sure is guaranteed to win, right?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to bet on the horse that's more likely to win. And like, honestly, the way that I look at business, and I look at even like team members, is like, I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I know if I want them to be guaranteed to win, I'm going to give them the resources that they need, so that the probability that they win is a lot higher, right? In your case, you told them exactly what to say. You didn't leave it up to chance. And that's why I say, like, if you don't have systems, if you don't have processes, like you're leaving it up to chance, and you're betting on the wrong horse.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, because you're exactly right. Yeah.
And so you started investing in your team. You started giving them like what to say, so you have this pool. And so how does that work? Like, you just, anytime you sell an Invisalign, you just put money into that pool? And
so basically a case start means they put money down to start their case, and we count that. My front desk girl says, okay, we got 1, 2, 3 starts, 4 starts this week. At the end of the month, what we do is how many starts we have this month? 15 starts. Okay, I take $1,500 and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your money. Here's your money. Here's your money. Here's your money. Yeah.
It's a very nice incentive.
I love it.
and we say this all the time too. Is like we're creatures of procrastination, right? So like at the end of the day, I'm always trying to think like, what can I do to incentivize somebody to take action today versus tomorrow? And I mean, your team's exactly the same way. Like, they obviously want to be motivated. They want to be incentivized. Like, I mean, if it means giving them a piece of the pie, so everybody's just more motivated to do a better job, then why not?
Exactly.
Like, even
basically, I tell them, it's like, you help me out, I'm going to help you out. And when they actually see that it financially helps them out, they're like, wow, he's really doing it, and they can count on you to do it. Then
it builds a better relationship with you and them, and they trust you more. They believe in you more. You kind of start seeing you more as that leader in their life. So that's really awesome. Was there anything else that you did with your team that like was kind of like a pretty played a significant role into them just performing better?
Do you want to talk about our Invisalign day we did?
Yeah. Well, let's do it.
Okay. So we had this little idea from Molus to do an Invisalign day. So I brought it up to you and said, hey, we got to do this. And so we were kind of planning it. And I honestly thought we needed more time to plan it, but we just marketed it for 1 week. And I said, I told my girls, I was like, okay, guys, we're going to do some special. It's like after hours. And I think we did like a Saturday hour. And I said, you're going to get your normal wages this time, plus any in bonuses you do from Invisalign starts. So 1 week we ad marketed it. And I think I only came in for maybe like, I don't know, 6 hours or something like that. After hours, like for 2 days, 8 starts. Yeah, something like 8 or 9 starts. And I mean, they're just like, that's crazy. So,
yeah, I think it was like 30 grand or so, like in a 2-day period, which is really amazing. And I say this all the time because I'm like, man, like we only had 1 week to promote it, and we did the bare minimum because we didn't have time. Like we didn't have time to do like a full-blown campaign. We just did some internal marketing, like one quick text message, an email. And we got a few people on the calendar, and then you got 8 starts, which is like phenomenal. So I'm excited to do the next one.
Yeah, me too.
So that would be amazing. So I mean, going back to the whole team thing. So you really just kind of, I mean, again, sweeten the deal even for them, not just for your patients, but for them, so they can be excited about doing. What were they more involved in that process when you did do the event, or how did that go? Oh yeah. So we kind of had to figure out how much time we wanted for consults, because we had to, I mean, everyone was talking. I mean, the whole office was talking, and I just say, okay, what do you think we need we do a consult here? How much time do we need to like scan, take photos, and do an x-ray? So we kind of had that, like, okay, well, if I'm doing this person's doing this person's getting the money, and we're kind of rolling that way, which, I mean, it worked really smooth. We just figured it out how it worked in our office. So, and I mean, they did most of it. So that's really good. Now, so, I mean, I don't know if you'd be cool talking about this, but could you talk a little bit more about like the process that you do take? So like somebody schedules, I'm sure you guys call them to collect whatever info, get them excited for the consult. Once they come in, like what happens then?
So once they book a consult with you guys, they get automatically booked into, we get a reminder that says this person booked for this time slot. Then what we do is we take that information, we put them into my practice management systems, and then you guys are sending out appointment reminders, and then they're getting hit double because my office is sending appointment reminders. So they're getting hit double. And yeah, I mean, with any marketing, you're going to get a few no-shows here and there. It's just the name of the game. So, but
part of business, guys.
It's just the name.
And guess
of it.
What? We have no shows too. Like everybody has no shows. Like
I mean, it is what it is. But you get a body in the door, that's a win. Okay, so what they do is once they're and we can kind of tell who may be a no-show, because what we do is we send them some paperwork to fill out ahead of time, and that automatically uploads into my system. So we kind of like, they did the paperwork, they're probably coming in. So once they come in, they're always greeted when they come in. So whether my staff are like, if you're on the phone and you see someone walking in, you just say hi. Hi. You greet them. You physically know that they're there, and then we say, you must be so and so, and we walk them back, and basically we say, you're here for an Invisalign consult. It's like, yeah, they talk to my assistant a little bit, and basically we go right in. I come in and say, hi, I'm Dr. Witer, blah, 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 blah. How can I help you out today? And so basically they say, if they want to get started, I'm just like, okay, here's what we need. We need to do, I call it pan, scan, photos. So we take pan, we scan, take photos, we collect the money, and then that's it. We get going.
And then you're the one that's mainly like talking to them through that entire process, right? Or like, is your hygienist also kind of involved in that as well?
Not my assistant's right there the whole time. So I kind of go the quick consult. This is what it can do for you. I think you're an excellent candidate. Here's how it works, and here's how it's different from braces. And I guesstimate the time, and I just kind of go, I tell them the cost. And so they know. I'm not going to be like, well, I'll have so-and-so tell you the cost. No, I'm telling them the cost.
Yeah.
And
I think that's one of the things that you do different than some of our other guys. But I mean, it's worked really well for you.
Yeah. You have to get comfortable talking about money, whether in anything, and you get better at other things with that too. I'm routinely presenting $10,000 to $15,000 treatment plans, and they're like, "When can we start?" Now. The answer's
No
now.
big deal. Yeah, it's just like 20,000. Whereas it's like $1,000. No, it's 20,000, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything else. Just 20,000.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah. So once I'm done with that, and then I say, okay, so and so is going to take care of you, and I'm done. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah,
They do the work, and someone else, they hand off the money, and
Well, sweet. Dr. Jacob, thank you so much. This was super valuable and insightful. One last question, say before we finish off today, for anybody that was in actually, I'll state it like this, right? Yeah. If you had to talk to yourself, middle of 2020, all right, you start just starting off, like, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Start sooner. Start sooner. Just
start what sooner?
Getting out there, take ownership of your business and treat it like a business, and stop looking at marketing as a cost. It's an investment. That's what I would really,
I love that,
give myself. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Jacob, thank you so much. Really appreciate having you on, and we'll catch you next time.